welcome all. Seaford Town Council Finance and General Purposes Committee. Nothing else, I think we can go straight to the agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody coming in. Jim.
Good evening, Jim. Oh. Hello, nice to see you.
Oh.
Would you mind sitting behind your badge there? That would be much appreciated.
Would you like some water?
Oh, fine. Well.
So, on to our first item. Any apologies for absence?
Yeah, councillors Warwaving and Buchanan. So apologies for this meeting.
Thank you very much, Clerk. Any additions? Thanks very much. On to item 2, which is disclosure of interests related to the agenda. Can I ask if any councillors have any disclosure of interests? No, thanks very much, everyone. On to item 3, which is public participation, but as we can see, there are no members of the public here with us tonight.
Surprise.
Fine.
Yeah. No public here, absolutely.
Have we ever had public to this meeting?
We did it the last one.
Last
Grants one.
Grants one we do,
Yeah,
but
grants
the rest of them.
So with that, I think we will move to item 4, which is receipts, payments and bank reconciliation reports for June and July 2023. Would you like to say anything to those?
I think the report explains it. It's just sort of telling you what's happened over the last between June and July for the receipts and payments. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks very much. Any questions on that report?
No.
Yeah, I do have a few just queries. They might be more to help my own understanding, but we'll see. I take it we're mostly focusing on finance and general purposes, but we can ask about any of the others, is that right? So with the view, there was quite a large...
Next agenda item. That's number 5.
Oh, sorry. I do apologise. Lost in all the papers.
We're getting ahead of moving wrong. Yeah, we're still on item 4.
So excited you got ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I am ahead of myself. I do apologise.
But any
Spoiler for item 5.
any questions on item 4?
No.
No. Can I have a proposer to note the contents of the report?
Councillor Borman.
Councillor Borman. And a seconder? Councillor Sturton. And all in favour?
Is everyone chair? Thank you.
Thank you. On to item 5, which is the finance report through to 31st of July 2023, and we're asked to consider the report for the income and expenditure between 1st of April and 31st of July. Councillor Bristow, any questions?
I do have a question, yes. It's about the view. Sorry to surprise you all with that. So cost centre 103 94003, the subcontracted staff. It's really high compared to budget, and I'm just wondering why that is and whether that's going to continue on. Do we know the answer to that?
I think we do to an extent. I think that if you look at the core salaries and wages, that's very significantly under budget.
Right.
And so basically they've been using more contracted staff and more subcontracted staff,
Yeah.
and fewer employed staff during this period. So that's, I mean, it's partly the nature of the beast, the catering industry. 'Twas ever thus, really, to be honest with you. So, because obviously for business continuity, if they're short of staff, they'll be getting more subcontracted staff in. So that's what's going on with that expenditure.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Very much. Councillor Borman?
Yeah, can I just clarify on the filming? So we have someone that we kind of subcontract for filming.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask what, because I was looking at the income and expenses, and I thought that it was 20% of our filming income went to them, but if you then look at the income and expenditure, it is different. So is there a difference in that?
So the income for the filming, that depends on where the location is. So if it's at Seaford head, then the costs will get coded to Seaford or they get coded to the seafront if it's a seafront. And it is 20% of the income, but we've also got a contract where the contractor's doing 5 hours a week as well.
Okay, yeah,
So
so that's where that difference
yeah.
comes from. That's what I just
Yeah.
wanted to just double check. That's fine.
Thank you.
No, summer's obviously summer's always a difficult time for when we're doing particularly school holidays and also grounds maintenance, because the grounds maintenance is more maintenance in the summer than in the winter. So I always expect when I'm looking after grounds maintenance a sharp spike in summer, and then in the winter it dies away because all the flowers die away. So you expect a larger spike for expenditure in summer than you do in winter. Along with all the other things that goes up, such as weddings and funerals don't take, well, funerals people, weddings don't take place in the winter. So it's a spike which I think Seaford Town Council have noted and actively taken care of in the report.
Thanks very much. Any further comments or questions? No, we are asked to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer for that? Councillor Sturton and a seconder, Councillor Bristow, and all in favour.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Item number 6, which is the budget framework and timetable for 2024 to 2025. Asked to consider the report advising the committee of the proposed budget framework and timetable for 24 to 25. Do I have any questions on that? Councillor Bristow?
I have 2 questions. The first one is hopefully just a quick one. It says in the table under 1.5 on the 9th of January, we've got an all councillors budget training, and it describes the action as an informal discussion on the proposed full budget before it goes to full council. And I'm just wondering, is it a training in the sense that we are going to learn things, or is it a familiarisation and then a discussion? And kind of can you tell me a bit more about that? Because to me, a training and a discussion are quite different.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of all of that, really. I mean I take your point about what I guess Lucy, we might struggle to find the exact words to use for such a gathering, because technically it might be training, because what the RFO does at this session is take the councillors through all the stages of assessing the budget, all the previous year's budgets, what the projections for the future are, and how everything's been determined. So there's elements of training in that, in terms of helping the councils fully understand how the decisions they're making fit within that context, and also where the precept comes in and how much precept we can set, and all them sorts of things. So that's why traditionally the word training has been used for this session. But on the other hand, the action is exactly what it says.
Okay.
That's actually what happens. It is an informal proposal and an informal discussion, which is not a decision-making body or anything. That's not a public meeting. There's no other rules that apply to there's no standing orders applying or anything like that. It's literally the RFO taking all the councillors through where the budget is heading a couple of weeks before the meeting, to give councillors an opportunity to consider any changes they want to propose before the budget is set.
Can I come back as well?
Yeah.
As a previous councillor, obviously I've attended these before.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is from all the recommendations for all the committees, the RFO will bring us forward, well, the precept will be 10% or something, and then no one wants that. So there'll be lots of discussion on, somebody says, I want it at 0%, someone says, well, I want it at 4%, so, and that's where the discussion is. So the RFO will then come back with, where can we then cut these things out of? Where can we save the money? We need
That's
X
right.
amount to make 1%, and then people can go away and then come back to the full council, whereas the RFO have gone away and taken all our points, and in the report will go, well, you could do this, this, this and this, and then it's decided what we want to do.
Just one thing,
That's right.
just very quickly. What it does the groundwork before you have a full council meeting. It's a shouting match. So you have a shouting match before it's a full meeting. So basically the RFO says, well, in actual fact, it's going to be 2% in, 3% and 4%. Because what we don't want to do in these particular members of the public, we have a big fallout. We won't get the fallout in private, basically. And iron all the lumps and bumps out, so when we do present it, it looks like we actually know what we're doing in a professional environment. I think that's basically it.
And that's why you put that, council, though. It looks like we know what we're doing.
Well, we know what we're doing, but because you get something on the high horse, and especially the high horse, when it's more informal than very, very formal and it's minuted and this, that, and the other. So it's an ideal opportunity to basically voice your opinion and get it off your chest and the things settle down over a couple of weeks.
Especially when some of the budget proposals
Yes.
initially are 20% and we're gone, no chance.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to just. So yeah, you're right.
Thank you, that's really helpful. I remember my ear defenders and the like.
Usually that one's over Zoom.
My other question is, now that we've got the climate change subcommittee, I know we did have some informal, what's the word really, musings about budget for that and how that can be related to the community services, which is its parent committee. And I think given some of the things we are likely to try and do in climate change, pending approval of our policy, we might well want some budget which is specifically climate change activities in terms of, I'm thinking things like monitoring and evaluation and so on, which will need to be built sort of before the end of the next year, I would imagine. And I'm just wondering with this, how can we put it in here to sort of mark that discussion? Can we put something like Community Services Committee, including climate change, or taking consideration of that or something, just to show that it's there and it's...
I think that sounds really sensible.
Because climate change is a subcommittee, so on the Community Services Committee, it would have a section that says climate change and a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember, Councilman, when we did that last year.
I did that last year and asked for money and got it in.
Yeah, exactly. So, does that all make sense to you?
Yeah, we could add in a cost centre to the community.
Yeah, cool. Let's do that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just a small one. Is it worth, given that this is a public document, is it worth identifying which of the meetings are open to the public and which aren't?
Yeah, I mean,
So that,
I think that's fair. I mean, it's implicit in the description of the 9th of January as a informal discussion, if that makes sense. Obviously, that's not explicit. People wouldn't realise that's what we mean.
Yeah.
But that's what that means. Is that the 9th of January is not a public meeting. The others are.
the others are all, obviously all public, but yeah.
So we can make that more.
I think it may be published on the actual, we have a spreadsheet of the meeting's timetable
Yes.
that is on the website already. It may stay on there, but it's not. I'm not sure, but it might be.
I think it's on the other, on the bottom,
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
that it's council training.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we can make sure that's clear.
Yeah, it would be.
It's got the grants ones on there as well.
Yeah, it would be, unpleasant to be the person that turns up pending.
Yeah.
If it's,
Without the ear defenders.
Without the exactly, yeah.
Especially if it's on Zoom. But that shouldn't be very guilty, but yeah, just in case again. Is that alright?
Thanks everyone. So we're asked to approve the budget framework and timetable. Can I have a proposer to do that? Councillor Borman and a seconder, Councillor Lord. All in favour?
Thank you, Chair. Everyone.
Thanks everyone. Item number 7 is the intermediate level review procedures for external audit. So we're asked to consider the report advising the committee of the Town Council's process to comply with the additional requirements of an intermediate level review. Any comments on this?
I think that it's just actually it might be worth saying just while we're here. I think the report's by Andy Beams, who is our locum RFO, and just to make sure everyone's absolutely clear that you're the chair about what's happened, which is obviously that Karen retired. Andy's come to us through Marby and also recommended by Sal. We could have a more qualified or experienced or relevant person than Andy. He's amazing, that thing. But anyway, but for this financial year, on the understanding that come April time he will have other commitments anyway. But that's worked perfectly for us, because Andy and Lucy are working together on a programme for Lucy to become the RFO by the time we get to the end of March in 2024. And we've also, between the three of us, agreed a programme of actions that will make that possible. And we're going to start the back, so we need to do some backfilling in the finance team, so we'll be implementing that backfilling in the autumn to enable that transition to take place. Just as some of you will no doubt be aware, and also from the film, an RFO appointment has to be made by full council legally. It's one of the two posts legally the council has to appoint through its, through that formal process. And so that process, which I have just described to you, is a report to full council, not this committee, because it has to go to full council. So full council in September will be asked to endorse what I've just said. I hope that's I'll take the opportunity as is named on this report to bring everybody up to speed. I hope that will make sense in terms of the process we follow. Great. Otherwise, with his experience, he has explained how we on 1.3 the intermediate level and how you get to that, and then 1.4 how our turnover is over 2 million and therefore the additional requirements are bulleted at 1.4, and then 1.5 to 1.9 explains how in the RFO's view the town council is meeting the requirements of the 4 bullet points in 1.4. So I hope that gives people what they need to know. Have a second question or comments there.
Thanks very much. Any? Councillor Bowman?
Just a couple of comments. One, can we thank Andy for his report, because it is really easily explained, in depth, and it is just brilliant. So please pass it on. And also Lucy, I'd like to wish you luck, but I know it would be great if you do our reference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
That's my only comments.
Thanks.
I have a comment to echo what Councillor Bowman said, and there's no doubt in my mind, Magnificent 3 term clerk, and therefore I think this council's been been in very, very safe financial hands for the last 5 years since I've been on the council, 6, and we're very, very fortunate to have a steady pair of hands at the ship, because the most important duty you have is a good quality. For one, I think, Lucy, I think what I'm wanting you, a well done employee, studies and this and that, and I think we should give it a vote of thanks actually.
Yeah.
We really should.
Thank you. The bell was a toll again.
Choose a nice bell now.
Church agrees. God has spoken.
Not to me, it's not, but still.
Any other questions?
No.
Any other comments? So we are asked to note the contents of the report. Proposed to Councillor Lord and second to Councillor Bowman. All in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks all. Item 8 is exclusion of the press and public.